Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Chanavalabha Girivaradari. Gopi Chanavalabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranchana. Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranchana. Yamunate Ravana Chari. Yamunate Ravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhaktarinda ki. Bhagavatam, ja. Soll ich in Deutsch sprechen oder English? English, okay. Good, because I prepared in English. Let us offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Vasudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. Late morning. Today is the disappearance day of His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami. Actually now 7:35 or 34 last year on this day he left his body. I remember I was in the kitchen cooking. I got the message at 7:43. I just put the last bowl of offering of khichdi in the bowl, and then my wife came in the kitchen and told me the sad news. And I remember it was a very devastating moment. In the beginning I thought like, okay, I'm not the body and everything is fine, he goes to the spiritual world. But then when it really happens, it's a very sobering and purifying moment. And the most important person in your life leaves this world. And we should also grieve. It's not like, no, we have no emotions, we are Vaishnavas, we are both life and death and everything is fine. No, when you read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and after he left the world and the Goswamis left the world, and when you read about Narottam Das Thakur, for example, or other acharyas, how they were grieving and longing for the association of these Vaishnavas. And everyone who knows Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, the kirtans, the lectures, the personal exchange, and the love and care and the sense for preaching was so strong and was like, for all of us, a great inspiration. And I will speak more at the end of the class. Just want to mention for the meditation. Yeah? Okay. Kann du, ja. Will jemand übersetzen auf Deutsch? Okay, reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. Also a great Vaishnava. Canto 4, chapter 8. That's the last text, last verse of this chapter. Was supposed to speak about the next, but then by the mercy of Chinmay Prabhu, he told me it's this verse. And I like this verse, it's very nice end of the chapter, nice conclusion. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha My Vaishtabalam tapaso duratyayan. My Vaishtabalam tapaso duratyayan. Nivatayishye pratyata svadama. Nivatayishye pratyata svadama. Yato hiva prana nirodasit. Yato hiva prana niroda asit. Autana patir mai sangatatma. Autana patir mai sangatatma. My Vaishtabalam tapaso duratyayan. Nivatayishye pratyata svadama. Yato hiva prana niroda asit. Autana patir mai sangatatma. Please chant. Vaishtabalam tapaso duratyayan. Navatayishye pratyata svadama. Yato hiva prana nirodasit. Dhanipadir mai sangatatma. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam vacha. Vaishtabalam soduratyaya. Nivatayishye pratyata sva. Va prananirodasit. Tani Padya Matachis. My Vaishtabalam tapaso duratyayan. Vatayasye. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam vacha. Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, Ma Vaishta, do not be afraid. Balam, the boy Dhruva, Tapasaha, by his severe austerity, Duratyayat, strongly determined, Nivata Yishye, I shall ask him to stop this. Pratiyata, you can return. Svadhama, your own respective homes. Yataha, from whom? He, certainly. Vaha, your. Prana Nirodha, choking the life air. Asit happened. Autanapadihi. On account of the son of King Uttanapad. Mayi unto me. Sankatatma. Fully absorbed in thought of me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanapada, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breeding process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation. Here one word, Sangat-atma, is misinterpreted by the Mayavadi philosophers, who say that the self of Dhruva Maharaj became one with the Supreme Self, the personality of Godhead. The Mayavadi philosophers come united in this way, and that after such unification, the individual soul has no separate existence. But here it is clearly said by the Supreme Lord that Dhruva Maharaj was so absorbed in meditation on the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he himself, the universal consciousness, was attracted to Dhruva. In order to please the demigods, he wanted to go himself to Dhruva Maharaj, to stop him from this severe austerity. The Mayavadi philosophers' conclusion that the super soul and the individual soul become united is not supported by this statement. Rather, the super soul, the personality of Godhead, wanted to stop Dhruva Maharaj from his severe austerity. By pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one pleases everyone. Just as by watering the root of a tree, one satisfies every branch, twig and leaf. As by watering the root of a tree, one satisfies every branch, twig and leaf of the tree. One can attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one can attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one naturally attracts the whole universe, because Krishna is the supreme cause of the universe. All the demigods were afraid of being totally vanquished by suffocation. But the personality of Godhead assured them that Dhruva Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord and was not about to annihilate everyone in the universe. A devotee is never envious of other living entities. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Gnananshana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svabhadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanapada, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breeding process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation. a very nice chapter. Actually, they said when you read the story of Dhruva Maharaj, you will become a pure devotee. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he really liked to listen to the story of Prahlad Maharaj and to the story of Dhruva Maharaj. And it's very, how you say, charming and enticing, how you say, when a small boy starts speaking about philosophy or shows us how to practice, how to worship the Lord. Imagine small children come in the temple and all of a sudden glorify the Lord, say nice prayers, completely effulgence. Just when you see them, you get purified, you get love of Godhead. Must be very attractive. Yeah? And Dhruva Maharaj, here this says, is never envious of other living entities. But actually the story starts differently. When his stepmother, from the other wife of his father, when she didn't allow him to sit on his lap, Dhruva Maharaj became very, very angry, and also envious because his brother, he was allowed to sit on the father's lap, but he was not. And he was feeling entitled, I'm a king, how can you do that? And he was so enraged, he went to the forest of the instruction of his mother. And when he met Narada Muni told him, my dear Dhruva Maharaj, you're just a small child. What are you going to do in the forest? You should be a king. Go home. You know? Dhruva Maharaj says, no, I can't tolerate this insult. It's too much for me. I can't handle it. I will go in the forest and I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the desire, I want a greater kingdom than the kingdom of my father, even greater than the kingdom of my great-grandfather, or his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. And we know Lord Brahma, he creates the whole universe, so he is the deity of the universe and of the whole material constellation world. And Dhruva Maharaj, he decided, no, this is not enough, I want to have more. I go to the forest and I want to worship the Lord and I want to have everything. So Dhruva Maharaj was very enthusiastic, and when he went to the forest, he got from Narada Muni the instruction to worship the Lord, make a deity, and worship the Lord with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Dhruva Maharaj was chanting this mantra, and after some time he was standing on one leg, was worshipping the deity. My Guru Maharaj said once, when we saw him last time in Parikram in Vrindavan, how amazing it is, Dhruva Maharaj. You know, every one of you knows who practice some breathing exercise, pranayama, very difficult to control the mind. But Dhruva Maharaj, he perfected pranayama, the breathing process, but he was standing as well on one leg. Okay, maybe that would be possible still for some yogis to stay on one leg, do some breathing exercises. But then also he worshipped the Lord, he worshipped the deity, and he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah. So for us, how is it possible? And Dhruva Maharaj performed so much austerities, he stopped eating, was only drinking every few days, he was only living from berries, and can't remember, every few days he ate something. And I think after half a year or something of this tapasya, he started to almost stop breathing. He only took a breath every 12 days. When I give a yoga class or pranayama, then I always tell the story. You know, pranayama is all about to emerge the apana and the pranavayu, to bring the prana to stillstand, that you don't breathe anymore, kumbhaka. And then we have this example of Dhruva Maharaj, who took a breath only every 12 days. But for us, obviously not possible. So for us, it's actually very difficult to perform austerities like this in the age of Kali. We have a very short lifespan. We're very entangled with our sense gratification. Shri Shri Prahlad Nishingadev, Bhagavan, Ki, Chai. We're very distracted from iPhones, iPads. Was gibt's noch? What else is there with eyes? Everything with eye. iWatch. Yeah. And it's very difficult for us to perform such severe austerities. But we can follow Dhruva Maharaj in that one point. He was so eager, even if we have material desires, we should still worship the Lord. This is the process. Chatur vida pachante mam. Jana Sukrito Nachuna Ata Kyaninas Kyayeshu Ata Kyayeshu Ata Ati Ata Kyana Cha. I forgot the last. Something with Bharata, but a famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita, I think 7:9 or something, 7:16, where Lord Krishna describes to Arjuna 4 kinds of devotees who surrender unto him. 4 times Pachantemam, 4 times of devotees who worship me. Yeah. And he said, everyone in this world is like completely bewildered, they're all rascals. But there's 4 types of people who start surrendering unto me. The Gyanis, those who possess knowledge of the Lord. The Gyayeshus, I think it was Gyayeshu. It's the one who inquire, who want to know more. Like, this world is a place of suffering, and there's so much pain you already experienced in your tiny little lifespan. And you inquire, maybe there's more, is there some God? And then you hear about Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita, and you become interested. Yeah? And then we have the ones who want to be free from material suffering. Yeah. Suffering is too much. My loved ones die. I'm sick all the time. I can't make any money, and I'm just suffering. I just live to survive. When everyone is doing it anyway. You work, you wake up, you go to work, you make money, then you can buy something to eat. You eat to be strong, to go to work, to make money. It's like this Teufelskreis, you say in German, the devil's circle. Samsara, circle of birth, death, disease and old age. And then we have Dhruva Maharaj. All these 4 also represented in the Bhagavatam. The one who wants to be free from material suffering is Gajendra. Gajendra is the elephant who was fighting with a crocodile, and they were fighting in the water, and the natural element of the crocodile was to be in water. So the crocodile was stronger than the elephant. But the elephant, because of his previous life, he remembered, who was the elephant? Indrayumna Maharaj? I don't remember. And the elephant remembered his previous life, that he worshipped the Lord, and so he offered some prayers. And Lord Vishnu appeared on Garuda to protect and save his devotee. This is the example for the devotee in distress. The inquisitive devotee who inquires about the absolute truth are the sages of Naimisharanya. I don't know, I can't elaborate on that, but the sages of Naimisharanya is when the Bhagavatam was spoken by Sutta Goswami, they assembled there in the Naimisharanya. It also says it's the point of the universe where Brahma created the whole universe. It's the center of the universe, Naimisharanya. But on this place, they started 1,000 years of yagya by reciting the Bhagavatam, and have all kinds of oblations, and the fire what burns 1,000 years. And so there was the Bhagavatam spoken, retold by Sutta Goswami, who heard it from Shukadev Goswami. And the Kyanis would be the Kumaras. They're not Mayavadis, they're Brahmavadis. They're self-realized personalities. They know Brahman, they know the absolute truth, but in more an impersonal aspect still. But as soon as they hear about the Lord, they get attracted to the Lord. And we know the story in Vijay and Jai in front of Vaikuntha. They wanted to enter, and Jai and Vijay told him, no, you come on, you naked boys here, 5 years old. Who are you guys? What do you want? You can't just enter Vaikuntha. And then they become upset, and then they cursed everyone, and that's why we have here Nishingadev and worship Prahlad Maharaj, whole story in itself. But then Vishnu appeared, and just the scent, the smell of the tulsi leaf on his lotus feet was so ecstatic and so beautiful that they become attracted to the smell of the tulsi leaf. Last time when we had Charanamrita, I had so many tulsi leaves in my drink that my tongue became numb. I couldn't feel my tongue anymore, I took so much tulsi leaves. But the smell of tulsi is so aromatic, so nice. Yeah. You can remember the Lord immediately. So they became attracted, they became immediately the Lord's devotees. And there's even a Sampradaya from the Kumaras. Like we have Brahma Sampradaya, there's also Sampradaya originating from the Kumaras. And then we have Dhruva Maharaj, who wanted to have the whole kingdom bigger than the material world. And this is the one who wants to have wealth, who approaches the Lord for material possessions. Yeah, this is the example given in Bhagavatam, is Dhruva Maharaj. And Krishna says that from all of those four, the one most dear to me is who? The one who has knowledge about the absolute truth is the most dear to Krishna. But later he says, foolish people, materialistic people, they tend to worship the demigods. They want to have material profit. They want to reach the heavenly planets. They want to have wealth and fame and artha, dharma, karma, moksha, and to enjoy their senses. Yeah. But Krishna says, but my devotees, the one he mentioned before, they still have material desires, but they desire to worship the Lord. They will all come to me. They will all attain my kingdom. So it's very interesting. Krishna says, okay, these four, these are devotees who have still material desires, but one of these four, he's my favorite, the Jnani. And sometimes we say, okay, we are bhakti yogis and karma yoga, jnana is speculation, philosophical speculation, meditation, and we speak about it in slow class, but jnana actually is so important for us to come up a level of understanding. Just read recently from Shivaram Swami, he says, first jnana, then comes vijnana. First we have knowledge, then we realize the knowledge, and then when the knowledge is realized, then only we can come to the stage of bhakti. It's also the process, sambandha. First we need to understand, have a connection to the Lord. We never heard about the Lord, we don't know anything about the Lord. Why should I worship the Lord? Like, if somebody tells you now there's some girl interested in you, and then, okay, great, yeah. But then if somebody tells me the name and the fame and the qualities and the pastimes, and the same we have also, we chant the holy name, Nama, yeah. We chant, we get purified, we hear, and then we hear all of a sudden about Krishna's form, and we see Krishna's form, Rupa, how beautiful Krishna is, Lord Nishingadev, Radha Madha Mohan. Even Srila Prabhupada, so attractive. Yeah. So we first the name, then the form, and then we hear about the gunas, the qualities. Yeah. This person is so nice, it's such a Vaishnava, so devotional, he does so much service, he always serves others, he's so humble. Yeah. Then you hear about this personality and you get attracted, you're like, wow. When I read first time Science of Self-Realization, I read the Ishopanishad, and it was all about Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I thought, okay, this is too much. Like, I thought Krishna is some guy, he's God, and I didn't know anything about it. And it was a bit too much for me to digest. But then I read only the introduction of Science of Self-Realization, and that convinced me about Prabhupada. From Mukunda Goswami this time, he wrote the introduction where Prabhupada served the hippies, where Prabhupada always was there to serve with an example. And I was just reading about Prabhupada and got so attracted to this whole process and this whole movement. Because I heard about Guna, about Prabhupada's qualities. And then later you hear about Leela, the pastimes. Yeah. So then you get more attracted, even you see the person in reality and you see how it performs his pastimes. So in our case, we hear about the Lord's pastimes. Yeah. So everything starts with jnana. It's so important, jnana. Yeah. And Dhruva Maharaj, he also came on this platform. He started first, he wanted to enjoy, he wanted to get the kingdom and perform austerities. And then he came to a level where he got instructed by his spiritual master, Narada Muni, even by his mother, Suniti already. And he followed this instruction. Then, when the disciple is ready, when you start the process of spiritual life, then also Krishna sends your guru. Krishna appears in form of the guru inside the heart, but in most cases for us, we don't hear yet the Lord speaking to us. So he appears and uses the media of a guru to give us transcendental knowledge. In this case, he sent Narada Muni, and Narada Muni came to to Dhruva, like I mentioned before, and he challenged him, and then he saw this guy, this little fellow is very eager, and let's see how far he will go. And he gave him the mantra to chant. Yeah, and Dhruva Maharaj was so enthusiastic, full of determination. Yeah. We need also some determination. Imagine you have one desire. What is your biggest desire in your world, in your life? What do you want the most? But we're so scared because everyone tells us, no, you shouldn't approach the Lord for material desires. But this is for a pure devotee. It says a pure devotee never wants anything from the Lord other than to serve the Lord in pure devotion. Yeah. But we are not as pure devotees yet. So better we approach the Lord. There's some desires. All of us have these desires. Yeah. But it's always good to approach the Lord. And with this mood, my dear Lord, I have this desire in my heart and I don't know, I can't get rid of it. I really want this in my life. And if you wish so, if you think it's good for me, still we have this humble mood and depend on the Lord. And then please fulfill this desire for me. And I realize for myself, when I do this myself, it makes some connection to the Lord. Instead of dealing with it myself and you think about in your mind the whole time and arrange everything, and you can't do anything in the outside anyways, and for weeks you just think about it and try to manipulate the material energy with your mind. And the Lord is just waiting, okay, why is he not coming to me? And then the Lord, he purifies you. I mean, when we go out on book distribution, our desire is maybe mostly not to just please the Lord and the Guru and to help all the people outside, to give them pure transcendental knowledge. Sometimes the desires are maybe a fame or glory and scores and books, but still we go out and we pray to the Lord, please, I want to serve you. I know I'm not ready. My heart is on the wrong place, but please somehow let me do this service. And you get purified. Because Krishna helps you. He will purify your heart from within. He will send you the Guru in the outside. He will send you even karmis or some stranger people to you to correct you sometimes. My driving school teacher, he said to me, you're not in the moment. You always, you should think ahead. You should see everything and you should be really focused, you can't drive like this. And then in this moment I realized my whole life is like this. I'm always somewhere else with my mind and already I'm not there in the moment. And I took this instruction, I saw it as instruction from Krishna directly to my driving school teacher, who was really not nice to me and really difficult. But then somehow it helped me, to understand, wow, I have to be more conscious because my life is depending on it, other people's life are depending on it. So when we pray to the Lord, Krishna appears everywhere, and especially here with devotees. Devotees will tell you, hey Prabhu, this was not nice. You shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't read that, or I don't know, please do your service nicely. You clean the temple room so nicely, but you forgot Prabhupada's asana since 1 week, there's so much dust. And then you see, actually the Lord was not pleased with my service. Instead of saying, hey, what does this guy know? Come on, I have so much to do and leave me alone. Could be also the attitude. But the devotee sees it, hey, okay, the Lord wants to correct me. And then Dhruva Maharaj, he took the instruction of Narada Muni and he chanted and he worshipped and he meditated and he perfected pranayama. And I'm trying still, but it's not possible. It doesn't work out. Sit for 1 hour, it's nice, but to sit for half a year and breathe only every 12 days. And then he stood on one leg, and then with his big toe, he became so heavy because he adopted the qualities of the Lord. He kind of became one with the Lord. And then Prabhupada once here, Sangatma, is misinterpreted by the Mayavadis because the Mayavadis says, okay, Dhruva Maharaj and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became one. That's the proof. But Prabhupada says, no. He attracted the universal consciousness by Dhruva. And Dhruva Maharaj became so heavy that the whole earth and the whole universe was suffering. Because Krishna, he became a Siddha yogi. He got all the siddhis, mystical perfections. And one is like Vishnu, he can be the heaviest and the lightest. So Dhruva Maharaj, he became the heaviest. The earth became too heavy. And then the whole universe was suffocating. He stole actually the life air, the prana. It became so powerful. And then the demigods became so anxious. They were completely oh my God, we can't breathe anymore. And then they went to Lord Vishnu and please. And the same, the demigods in this example, for example, also the ones who are in distress, they went to the Lord. And here is this whole Bhagavatam. Every time they're in distress, they go first to Lord Brahma or to Indra. The Indra goes to Brahma. Brahma goes to Kshirodakashai Vishnu, to the milk ocean, and he prays, please, Lord, appear, and we are suffering, we can't deal with ourselves. And then Lord Vishnu appears and says, yeah, no worries, I'm here for you guys. You my devotees, I protect you. So then Lord Vishnu, in this occasion, he tells them, I will appear. Don't worry, I will save you. And Lord Vishnu did appear, but I don't want to jump forward too much. To be continued. And a little bit we can talk about it. And first, Dhruva Maharaj became so self-realized that he saw Paramatma. He saw Lord Vishnu in the heart. It must be amazing, no? Sometimes we also talk like, okay, the Brahma and Brahmajyoti and Paramatma, it's like, it's a little bit low class, and we only focus on Bhagavan, want to worship the Supreme Person. But Supreme Personality of God, it means Brahman eti, Paramatma etmi, Bhagavan iti Shabdyade. It's free. It's not just Bhagavan, he also has Brahman and Paramatma. Prabhupada gives the example like the sun. If the sun globe, we have the sun rays, the Brahman effulgence from the sun globe, and we have the person behind, Bhagavan. So, we shouldn't think we are so advanced that we don't need to know or hear or appreciate the other two qualities, because we are pure devotees of the Lord, serving the Lord with unmotivated, pure devotional service all the time. So imagine you see Paramatma in your heart today. Your whole life will change. It would be amazing. And Dhruva Maharaj saw Vishnu in his heart. And then all of a sudden, Vishnu disappeared. And he was like, what? Wait, where are you going? Imagine Krishna appears and then he disappears. And he became completely bewildered, so he stopped his meditation and opened his eyes. And also Vishnu appeared to save the universe. And then Dhruva Maharaj opened his eyes, and all of a sudden, Lord Vishnu, Prishnigaba, Kshirodakashai Vishnu appeared through Gabadokashai Vishnu, called Prishnigaba, appeared in front of him on Garuda. I'll just read this chapter, that way I know all these details. Also at the same, like here in the temple. And then Dhruva Maharaj, he didn't know what to say. Imagine the Lord appears now in front of you. What would you say? Probably, like Chaitanya, Chaisachi said, everyone was fainting all the time, crying and fainting. When you see Lord Nishingadev all of a sudden reveals himself, or you faint, boom, or you get scared. And I thought about it, it must be scary. Imagine Krishna appears. One time we were in Cologne, and there was this, I think Rasa Yatra it's called, where you offer milk rice on the roof, and then it's the day of the Rasa dance. And it was with Lochan, and all of a sudden we heard like on the roof, we heard like something jumping, and suddenly someone is dancing middle in the night. And actually we got scared, And we said, what if it's Krishna? What if Krishna just appears? And we really heard some things, we were like completely like, what's going on? I still don't know what was this sound. But in the moment we thought, what if Krishna just comes in the room now? Must be somehow like, how you deal with it? What do you do, Am I ready now to surrender? What should I do? So Dhruva Maharaj, he was speechless. He didn't know what to say. He was like completely stunned. And then the Lord touched him with the concha, on the forehead. And then all of a sudden, Dhruva Maharaj became self-realized. Completely, he became, like one with the Supreme. In that sense, he understood the Supreme. He was Chit, completely conscious. And he, full of knowledge and wisdom. And he started offering prayers to the Lord. Yeah. And then one of the prayers, and I searched everywhere for it, and I realized it's not in the Bhagavatam. It's in one of the Puranas. And this prayer, every one of you probably heard about it, that Dhruva Maharaj, and this is also how I want to connect the lecture now with my Gurudev, because in his last message, there's a video message, 50 minutes. If you have time today, you can go on YouTube, Kadamba Kanana Swami, the last message. Actually, I just put the last message today, was the first video which appeared. And he speaks about this story at the end. He also says, remember Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj, he was desiring broken glass, but then he found Krishna. He desired the whole material world. He desired to have a bigger kingdom than Lord Brahma. But then Vishnu appeared in front of him. Yeah. And then he said, I desired broken glass, but now I found the diamond. The black diamond. Shyama Sundar. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah. So we are in the same position. We desire so much material enjoyments, we have so much attachments. And that's okay as soon as we turn to the Lord, but with determination, not just a little bit prayers and please, my Lord, take it away. But inside actually you don't want to let go. And Dhruva Maharaj was so determined to see the Lord, to worship the Lord. But his motivation was still impure. He wanted to have this biggest kingdom. But it shows us so much that this process of devotional service works. Even the most fallen can take up the process of Krishna consciousness. And we are all the most fallen. I'll be honest, when we came here, because some of you are born here, you're from the heavenly planets descended to save us. It's different. But most of us, we had like a really difficult childhood and youth and teenage life and adult life. And so much entanglements and desires to give up. But all of a sudden, somehow, we made it that far already. I remember after a few years when I was here in the temple, I was like complaining, I don't make any advancement. And I can't remember who it was, maybe Ramananda, someone came and said, why are you complaining? Look at you came here like, I don't want to go in my past now, but some people know where I came from. And then, look at you now, you're traveling Sankirtan, you cook for the Lord, you initiated, Brahman initiated, and people listening to you give classes, and think about it, And then I was like, yeah, it's actually true. We don't see it ourselves. Every time we say Hare Krishna, every time we open Srila Prabhupada's books, every time we serve the Vaishnavas prasadam, every time when we clean the temple, every time when we remember Krishna, it's so much closer to the Lord than we were before. So we got the diamond already in our heart. He's always there. Even though we forget about him. We even call him sometimes, he's not existing. Krishna is not existing. Check. You don't exist. No. Do you know Jack? I never heard about Jack. He's illusion. He's not existing. How can he exist? Everything is so awful in this world. But Jack feels like, hey, wait a minute, I'm here, guys. But Krishna loves us so much, he leaves you your free will, the decision to forget about him. You get completely covered in illusion and suffer. But Krishna, out of his love, out of his free will, he gives you the opportunity to enjoy this material world. And then the same love we need to cultivate to go back to him. Only then we can enter the kingdom of God. And in this video message of my Guru Maharaj, he says, I spoke yesterday with a friend about it. He starts the story with Parikshit Maharaj, who saw Kali, and Kali was hurting a bull and a cow. And Parikshit, the emperor, wanted to punish him. And so he spoke to him, and then he banned him from his kingdom. He said, okay, you can go wherever there is meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. But this was not full Kali Yuga developed yet. And he said, Kali, I'm Braja, I'm existing, I'm a person, I can't just stop to exist. This is where I have to live. This is where I have to work. It's my job, He said, you can't just ban me now from the kingdom. Where should I go? And then Parikshit told him, you go then where there's gold. So Kali went where there's gold. And actually, Parikshit Maharaj, when he cursed Shringi, the father of Shringi, we always say the name of the son, but we never know the name of the father. Someone knows the name of the father? Also with S. I think. Parikshit cursed this father. That's why the whole Bhagavatam was spoken, and they said because he had a golden crown, and the Kali, personality of Kali, was waiting for him and influencing him. What to speak of us? Or the story, also my Gurudev always mentions about Nala and Damayanti. Also like the story very much in Mahabharata. The Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj was complaining about his life, about his misery. His wife got almost, unroped in the assembly of the Kurus. And now they are in exile and they suffer so much. And then Vaishampayanya appeared. And always in Mahabharata is always a story, and then there's another story, and in this story is a side story, and all of a sudden you end up in completely different stories, and you forget about where was the original story from. But then he came, and then he said, you suffer a lot, but there was a king suffering much more than you. And then he speaks about the story of Nala and Damayanti. It's a beautiful love story with ups and downs. And Nala was promised to Damayanti. I mean, Damayanti promised, okay, I want to marry Nala. And they also heard about themselves. They never met each other. Yeah, and they were so eager to get married. And Nala went for the Swayamvara ceremony to get married to Damayanti. And Damayanti was waiting for Nala. Too fast? I feel like I speak so slow. Because I see the time. Tick, tick, tick. Okay. And then Nala went on the way to Damayanti. And then the demigods appeared, because the demigods, they heard about this Swayamvara ceremony, and Damayanti was the most beautiful girl in this world, even more beautiful than the damsels of the heavenly planets. So the demigods are very eager to get married to her. So Indra came, and Yamaraj, Vidura, don't remember, it was 4, and Agni, I think. And then they met Nala, but they heard about Nala, and they knew Damayanti already, she wanted to marry Nala. So they wanted to trick Nala, because they were already very eager and promised themselves. And in this time, when you made a decision, you are like pious and chaste. You not just change your mind. Okay, I want to marry you, and then okay, no, maybe I take another one. You know. Why not? So Nala went there with determination, and then the demigods appeared, and then Nala saw them. Wow, the demigods! And how can I serve you? Whatever you desire, I will fulfill it. Please let me be your servant. Okay, you know what, today is the Swayamvara ceremony of Damayanti, and we want to marry her, one of us, so you step back. I said, no, I can't, I'm promised to, like I made my decision, I can't stop, this is against religious principles. And the demigods said, no, you have to stop now, like you said, you fulfill our desires. So the demigods were happy, they went to this ceremony, and then, but Nala said, how can I not follow my vow, like I can't change my mind, you know. The higher principle is still to follow Dharma, you know, I can't. So he went to this ceremony, and then he entered in the arena, and then Damayanti came, and she was looking for Nala. Where's Nala? And all of a sudden she saw 5 Nalas. And then she was so bewildered, what's going on, you know, because the demigods, they took the form of Nala. And then she has to choose one of them, you know. And then she remembered, she prayed to Lord Vishnu, and she also kind of pray to the demigods, like if the demigods appear and you have to pray that they reveal their identity, then they are obliged to show their form. So somehow she prayed to Vishnu, I can't remember exactly how it was, but she prayed to Vishnu and then to the demigods, and then somehow subtly she could see them, that this is the demigods, and told them, no, you have to show your face, you can't hide behind your disguise. And then the demigods she saw were flying, they were floating, levitating, they're not touching the ground. And they have beautiful garlands, like they're always fresh, smelling nicely. Then they don't blink with their eyes, they don't sweat, they don't smell, they smell like roses. So she could see who are the demigods. And then she knew the demigods were there to get her into marriage, and she still decided, no, I'm true to Dharma, I will choose Nala. So she chose also Nala, and the demigods actually were very pleased, because they were so true to their vows, and she was so chaste. And they were so pleased with them, they gave them lots of benedictions. So the demigods left, and they were happily married, and then they went for honeymoon. And on the way, Kali came, and Kali just missed a few moments in the heavenly planets. But on planet Earth was already a few days past, because it's different timings. So then Kali came, and he met Indra, and he asked him, I'm too late, okay, who got Damayanti? And Indra said, no, Nala got her. He's very chaste, and we gave him lots of benedictions, and they're happy now. And then Kali said, no. He's like envious, you know. I can't tolerate this. How can some human being marry Damayanti? No, I can't tolerate. I will destroy him. And Indra said, no, I'm your master. You can't destroy her. Like you have to step back. You know. And Kali came with Dwapara, and then Kali said to Dwapara, no, I will not listen to Indra. I will destroy Nala. And then he came and he tried to influence Nala. But Nala was so pious, he followed his Kshatriya, but he followed his Brahminical standards in such a high standard that Kali couldn't find any chance to influence Nala. And Kali's plan was to influence him, to go into his body and influence his consciousness, to take away his wife and his whole kingdom. So he waited for 2 years. He waited for Nala to make a mistake. And the mistake Nala did, he went to pass urine, and he washed his feet, he washed his mouth, but he forgot to washed his hand, he washed his mouth, and he forgot to wash his feet. And then Kali said, yes, now I can enter him. And this was Dwapara Yuga, or maybe not even Dwapara Yuga, it was before Yudhishthira, before the Pandavas. I think it was the same Yuga still. So it was not even Kali Yuga. And Kali could enter Nala just because he didn't wash his feet. What to speak of us? When did you last time wash your feet after you went to toilet? Yeah. Many times you go on a toilet outside somewhere and people don't even wash their hands. It's like unbelievable, no? Yeah. So this is Kali can influence like this already. And then what to speak of the 4 regulative principles? Yes, my later everything was like a whole like nice story and everything. Kali influenced him, he lost his kingdom, but later they got married happily ever after. And I told this story already a few times. Another time I can mention it again in more detail. Very beautiful in Mahabharata, you can read. There's also a shorter version, and my Guru Maharaj has many lectures about it. And yeah, and then my Guru Maharaj, he spoke about these 4 principles. You know, like his last message, he tells us these 4 principles. And that it's so important. And to chant, of course, the holy name of the Lord. Because this is what gives us shelter. That is what protects us. It's a very high standard. It's Brahminical standard. Yeah. Kshatriyas in different ages, they were not following the principles like we do. Yeah, so it's Prabhupada was such a genius. He knew we are only safe when we follow these principles. Yeah, and Maharaj said, when we slip, then everything will be in vain. And when disciples ask him, he always not complained, but he told me also in person that, ask him for some instruction and then do you have some mission for me, some instruction? He said, how is your japa? How is your 4 regulative principles? You always want for me some instructions, but can you follow the principles? Do you chant 16 rounds, 16 good rounds? I said, what must I instruct you when you can't follow this? And he said, when you follow this, you listen to my lectures, you listen to Prabhupada, everything we need is already given. But we are covered if we don't follow these basic principles. And somehow then I was discussing with a friend yesterday can it be really everything? Like, these principles and chanting and for me it's like it was his last word, so I should take it very serious. Yeah. Later in the message, I read a short passage now, and then we enter class. Later in the message he says, and then when we follow this movement, what he also says to the story with Nala and Damayanti is the Kali Yuga is maybe present now, the dark age, but Kali, the darkness, is just a backdrop for Lord Chaitanya to appear even more golden on the falchions. It's nice, no? So it's actually, and he said it's Chaitanya Yuga. It's the Yuga of Lord Chaitanya. And everyone wants to come, all the children who appear now in our movement, all the demigods waiting in line to come in the Kali Yuga, to chant the holy name, to spread the Sankirtan movement, to get Raj Prema, Raj Bhakti, to go to Goloka Vrindavan, to understand Radha and Krishna. Very high knowledge. But everything starts with these basics. We can't skip them and he says then it's just a short time. This life is so quickly over. Then soon we will meet again, he said. And we will all chant and dance, and then we have a real party, Krishna party in the spiritual world. Like for us it's now this life, but then after this life, we will all meet together. And then he mentioned this point twice that we should have this love. It's so important to have this love for Krishna. It's most important, everything else is unimportant. And something private, I had a dream recently, and the Maharaj came in this dream and he said, forget about Sattva Guna. He was shouting at me. Sattva Guna is Maya. Krishna doesn't care about Sattva Guna. It's only about love. It was nice. And of course we care about Sattva Guna. But it's the higher principle is to love Krishna. And Maharaj said, and then we will come together and we will have an eternal party in the spiritual world. And he said, soon if you take this word seriously and the message of Prabhupada and follow this path, he said, soon miracles will happen in all of our lives. And I have a proof. Guru Maharaj said this once in Cape Town in South Africa when I lived there for a couple of months, and we didn't have a marathon, Prabhupada marathon, like we did a few books maybe. Then we started Sankirtan again, and it was like a big thing, and our goal was 3,000 books in this month. And devotees were distributing usually 1-2 books a day. It was really difficult, And experienced book distributor, or myself also, I was struggling to do 20 books. It was very difficult. And on the last week, Gurudev came there and he gave a class, and we had only 1,400 books, and was from 4 weeks, 3 weeks were passed. So we had only 1 week left to achieve the goal of 3,000 books. And he said, no, you know what, you go all out and be convinced. Krishna empowered you. Prabhupada already gave you the instruction. And then he said, miracles will happen. And then we actually said we want to make a shirt like this, miracles will happen. And he said this. He said in the last measures, miracles will happen. He said, you are empowered to do miracles. Because Prabhupada gave it to us. The empowerment is in the instructions. Empowered to do miracles. It's our slogan. And we were so inspired. Okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. And I remember I came back home in the evening. I did well already 1 week, better. But then I did like 30 books or something. And all of a sudden I saw the scores. One did 50, one did 70. I was freaking out. Like devotees who have no idea about book distribution. And we reached 3,200 books. So we did it in the last week. We distributed, 1,700 books or something. More than all 3 weeks together in the last week. It was like unbelievable, And we could and then he said they never had a Sankirtan festival since 20 years. Cape Town was, many years ago, the #1 book distribution temple worldwide for some time. And they didn't have this for so long time, like the Sankirtan festival and New Year's Eve celebration. Everyone was ecstatic, was completely like mad. And then we could see this power of the Sankirtan movement. And we all empowered to do the same miracles in our own life, in this life, right now. Okay. And then yesterday I talked with my friend about these principles, and we had some discussion about it. And then I opened, before I go to bed, like I try to here and there read from this book. It's called Forever Present. I don't advertise it here, anything, but it's really an amazing book. It's the last instructions of our Guru Maharaj. It's mostly of his last lectures. There was one 2-hour lecture where he speaks about, he gave us like everything. Maharaj gave us a way how to live. Yeah. He let us take part in the Sankirtan mission, like we are part of the CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. His first instruction to me was, you got the mercy now distribute the mercy. And the second was, it's not enough to know Krishna is all attractive. Krishna is all attractive. He said, what are you going to do now? He said, read the Nectar of Devotion every day, go deep, and figure out how is Krishna all attractive. Not just that Krishna is all attractive, that's not enough. We need to understand how he is all attractive, why. Yeah. And in this book, he gives really a manual about spiritual life. It's like really amazing. Every time I read it, I get so inspired in my practice. Not because my guru wrote it, but I can really see Krishna speaking through him. It's like, for everyone, there's everything we need in our spiritual life is inside this book. So if you have time, you can download even PDF, Forever Present. I can send you a link if you're interested. Just once in a lifetime you can read it, why not? Or today, a few chapters. And then I opened yesterday this chapter to have some nice dreams and get some inspiration for today's class. And the chapter is called Take Charge of Your Spiritual Life. And I opened it, like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Let's read this. And then he says, I want you to take charge of your own spiritual life. I want you not to go on automatic pilot, but to say, I'm going to shape my spiritual life. And I need support. I need association, and I need so many things. The first principle is that you take charge. You make something of your spiritual life. It is not like it is happening or it is not happening. You make it happen. Okay, it may not be possible to become a Paramahamsa just because we try to make it happen. Or you may not immediately get $100 million and build a temple to please your spiritual master. But take your life in your hands and make something of it. That is what I really want. I think that is a point of breakthrough in spiritual life, and it is required. What I want from you is that you have a vision. It is my duty to be a visionary, and what I would like is that you have a vision in life. That means that you look at your whole life, not just living and surviving from day to day. I'd like to see that you think about where you are going, and it better be to the spiritual world. And who are you taking with you? Don't go alone, take some with you. We need to reflect and be thoughtful. For example, here we have taken birth in a particular situation. What did we do in our last life that brought us... Is the door closed or is it so loud? That brought us to where we are now. I've been thinking about where I come from, about what to do, what is important. All these questions. You should not only ask these questions, but also answer them. We need to come to the point of making conscious choices to create a life more favorable for Krishna consciousness. Anukulyasya sankalpa parikulyasya vachanam. We accept what is favorable and reject what is unfavorable. I'm looking for authenticity. I don't look for good club members who are nicely acting out the role that they understand the devotee should have. No, I'm looking for people who are saying, let's do something to live the way Krishna and Srila Prabhupada want. Now it comes to related to these 4 principles, because we listened to this lecture yesterday and we spoke about it, and then I read exactly the contrary. Actually, he said, I think it is extremely boring if someone is just chanting 16 rounds and following 4 regulative principles. And that's the spiritual life. Yeah. He said, that's boring. Like, if it's only that, it's not enough. You have to do something. I would say that's the most boring devotional life you could have possibly chosen. There are so many options, exciting, dangerous, a huge menu of choices, and you choose the category boring. I hope my disciples are not going to live a boring life in Krishna consciousness. We all have different natures. Some like to study, some like to chant, some are very passionate and like to do things. Whatever it is, engage it, but in a way that we develop compassion. To end, because it's late, he speaks about we should study the Madhura Kadambini to see from Shraddha to Prema what is our situation, that we see where we stand now and where's the goal, how can I improve. And of course, we know just chant 16 rounds and chant and follow the principles. And this will lead us to get taste. I mean, you can't chant and then not want to hear about Krishna, associate with devotees, go to programs, to festivals, and go deeper and read and study. But this is the foundation. Like you build a house, you have the foundation. But then you see what is your inclination, how can you serve the Lord, what is your special ability, and then use it. Don't just get self-complacent and, okay, I chant already, I follow principles. No, we have to do something extra. And then we attract the mercy of the Lord. And Maharaj showed us a way. I wanted to speak more, but time is out. He showed us the way to live, the way how to surrender, the way how to preach, to help others. One more small thing just came in mind. Ratha Yatra in Cape Town was a girl was asking him, she had like some disease, she can't move properly and like paralyzed, and she's devotee, and she said, Maharaj, my whole life, like I can't play with my friends, I can't drive a car, I have pain all the time, like my whole life is screwed. How is Krishna so, like how can I understand my karma? Why does Krishna does this to me? And this question, like if somebody asked me how you answer this, someone who suffers. And I was really like thinking, okay, I'm so eager now to hear his answer. And then he said to her, with really conviction, looked in her eyes, and everyone was crying in the room, it was so intense. He told her, you know what? You're the most fortunate person in this room, because you can't enjoy this material world. You can only surrender to Krishna. You can take any moment to chant, to hear about Krishna. You're so fortunate. And she was like really touched, and she came then after to the Sunday programs, and it was like really like the way, and because he was so convinced, he was so saying it from his heart, from his realization, she could accept it. He showed us a way to practice, and he showed us the way how to live this world. And his last moment, he always chanted his rounds. Like his guru even said to him, you don't need to chant anymore, you almost leaving this body, you have pain, you don't need to chant. If you don't want, you don't need to chant. I free you from your responsibility. He said, how can I stop chanting if I tell my disciple to chant? What an example I am, And he was counting during the day after 7, 8 hours, he said 12. And it was the number he has on rounds. And every day he was continuing chanting his 16 rounds to give us an example. And just imagine now, you know you have cancer and you will leave this body today, tomorrow, in 3 days. How would you live? How would you act? What would you do? How would you surrender? It's actually an amazing gift that you know you leave this world. And even after he left, he gave us everything. And today, we try to serve you in a nice way. My Guru Maharaj, he gave us a menu. He wanted that we cook when he leaves this body because he wanted to serve the Vaishnavas. So he gave us a detailed menu what he wants to have for us. And was his favorite dishes. He couldn't enjoy himself because of his diet. So for many years he couldn't eat it himself. But his desire was that all the disciples and all the devotees can eat his favorite dishes. And so even after he left this world, he still gave us instructions and also this book and his kirtans and his lectures and memories. And so Maharaj lives always in us. Today we have, if we cook, Shri Brahmamsa Gaur I will help him. He's the more advanced cook, and I'm very happy to do this with him together. Some special preparations are waiting to offer to the Lord. And at 12:30 we will have a kirtan dedicated to Maharaj, and till then is Rajboga Aarti. Also we continue with kirtan, and then 1:20 there will be Guru Puja Aarti to Kadambakana Swami, and at 1:45 we have short Pushpanjali, and then at 2 we can honor the hopefully tasteful prasadam feast. His Holiness Kadamba Kanal Maharaj Ki Chai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Chai. Sorry if there's any questions. I have to go to kitchen now and it's already over time. Wish you a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Please bless me that I can serve you nicely today. And remember my Gurudev. And if you have time, please come. Together we can honor him, chant and be ecstatic. He said what makes him the most pleasure is what? Somebody remembers? When devotee stands. He asked once and then he asked everyone in the room, and remember Sanjay said studying and Harinananda said Harinam, and then we asked Maharaj, what do you like the most? And then he said, what gives me the most pleasure is when we chant and dance in ecstasy, and especially when he leads the kirtan and everyone gets mad, completely mad. So let's try to get mad today for Krishna somehow. Dance in the kitchen or dance in the temple or dance in the garden. Let's dance forever. Okay. Shri Prabhupada Ki Chai. Gaura Bhaktarinda Ki Chai. Nandaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Chai.